It's the ultimate travel guide from the people who know it best. Weekends with Yankee. Next, we move north to the Rangeley Lakes region of Maine. Located just 20 miles from the Canadian border, it's a four-season paradise that generation after generation of visitors come back to again and again, year after year.
It speaks to me. It's a wonderful place to be. You're able to lose yourself a little bit. The ability to not be connected. You know, we spend all our time trying to be connected, and how healthy that is. The disconnect is equally as important. So, you know, people come here today for lots of reasons. The sounds, you know, being on the water, listening to the water, listening to everything happen around you. It affects you. It affects you, makes you feel differently.
For people who have never been to Rangeley, I would just say that you have to come here to experience it for yourself. It's the type of place where once you've been here, you'll want to return. And that's evidenced by the folks who stay with us over and over throughout the year or on a regular basis. We're removed from everything. We're in our own little world here. And we have this tremendous sense of community where, you know, you can still walk down the street and see people who you know and stop to chat. And despite being in such a removed location, there's a surprising amount that this little community has to offer.
Rangeley has a palette of color like I've never seen anywhere. I've lived in Hawaii, I've lived in many places, I've traveled the world extensively, but the colors that happen here are always changing, and the light is just so pure and crisp. So I spend a great deal of time, especially in the morning and in the afternoon, trying to capture that light. If I see a color, I'm not going to water it down. I'm going to use it as bright and bold as I can. I have an affinity for that, and so I use it pretty brightly and boldly. But it's local area pictures, mostly of the lakes and mountains. That's where my heart is.
One of the things that makes Rangeley a unique area is the significant amount of conservation land here. When you wind through the Rangeley Lakes National Scenic Byway, you're actually passing through over 60,000 acres of land that will be conserved. So that's never going to be built upon or developed in any way. So even when I was younger, I was raised maybe an hour south of here, everybody wanted to go to Rangeley and get away. And so I always knew it as a place where people were outside all of the time. Hunting and fishing is what my family does, and so that's really like what we would do.
Fly fishing is a culture in and of itself. It fits in nicely up here because when Rangeley was being settled, largely the methods were fly fishing. The culture has a lot to do with how it's done, what the tackle is, where it came from, when it came from, you know, and all around us. I mean, just down the street was Herb Welch. Across the lake was Carrie Stevens. You know, these are really important people in the sport, and they're embedded in Rangeley. There's no separation possible. You can't come to Rangeley and not quickly learn their names. So if you want to access those waters, those hallowed waters of history, chances are they're fly fishing only.
So aside from outdoor activities in Rangeley, we have a variety of shops and eateries right here in our downtown. We have some galleries, and then we do also have Rangeley Friends of the Arts, which is our local theater. We also have the Outdoor Heritage Museum in Aquasic, which gives a great overview of Rangeley's history of hunting, fishing, logging, and what originally brought people here by railroad. Then we have the Maine Forestry Museum. Part of what drew me to Rangeley beyond the Rangeley Inn was that it's such a great area for hiking.
Hiking in Rangeley is unique because a lot of times you'll go out and you're the only person on the trail. It's amazing. You could be the only person for 600 or 700 acres easily. very freeing and peaceful and wonderful.
You can almost feel it, you know, it's like, I love it here. It's like there's things to do all the time, whether you're hunting or fishing or skiing or biking. And everybody feels like the people that live here and visit here a lot, you feel part of it instantly. You really do.
So one of the benefits of the mountain being open again is that it extends our winter season. So instead of just having folks coming for snowmobiling in the months of January and February, we see skiers coming much earlier and staying much later. And that's because the mountain has the ability to make snow and work on its trails and keep those open all throughout the winter season.
You know, you have growth and then you have all these other things that happen as well. And I think Rangeley initially was shocked, like, oh my goodness, we need to have all these other components now that we have these things growing. But I think they're acclimating and embracing it, and I think the growth is just really wonderful. People are really excited with new home ownership and new businesses establishing. So I would say that's the change I've seen over time. Everything else kind of stays the same. Same buildings. I'm back in the same building. It used to be a pharmacy when I was a kid.